Good morning, and welcome to Tel Aviv University and to our second annual workshop. Before we begin, if I may, I would like to say a few words about this project. About 3 years ago, maybe a little more, Chaya, maybe a little more than 3 years, Sophie? 3 years, a little more. Clal Insurance Company, which is Israel's leading insurance company, and Tel Aviv University embarked in a new and to us exciting venture by entering into an agreement to initiate a unique program whose purpose is to further and broaden the knowledge about retirement, pension planning, and social welfare. The initiative and the general's financial support are solely Clal's. It's all Clal's idea. We at Tel Aviv University and the social science faculty developed and run the program, again with the generous support of Clal. We developed new graduate courses dealing with retirement and pensions and social welfare. We sponsored and funded research into these areas, and with Clal we've organized 2 or 3 conferences, and 2 workshops. This is the second workshop. This is our second international workshop. We hope to broaden its scope, and because it's the second one, we begin to feel that it's a tradition, and we hope to do this every year. I know, I know. Okay, you caught me red-handed. Oh well. Before I introduce our speakers, I would like to first thank Mr. Alex Kaplun from Clal, who's not here today. Without him, this partnership would not be and would not have grown to be what it is. It's been a pleasure working with Alex. I don't see Mr. Uri Genosar, Clal's VP for External Relations, for communicating what we do. So thank him as well. And Ms. Sophie Dromi, who the first 2 years was involved in this project on a daily basis almost, and I think she thinks that kind of matured, and this year she kind of she slackened a bit the rope, and we can do things on our own. So I guess you'll find some mistakes here. It's because she let us. So thank you. I need to a special thanks to Efrat Herzberg. Some of you have already met her. Without her, no workshop. And her good graces, calm nature, resourcefulness, overcame many, many obstacles. Some of you could attest to some of the obstacles. So thank you, Efrat. Just a little after we began, we enlisted Avia Spivak from Ben Gurion University to our team. He's a member of our organizing committee, and he's been instrumental in fleshing out this whole venture. So thank you, Avia. Chaya Steyer, Professor Chaya Steyer. Those of you who have not heard, I'm sorry, my name is Eli Weitz. I'm her colleague, and I work for Efrat. Chaya is from the departments of sociology and anthropology, which is up on the 6th floor, and labor studies. We're colleagues. We work on this together. I learned from Chaya a great deal. This year, Sophie has let me operate solely, and Chaya too. I mean, she's in Holland on sabbatical, and we communicate only via email and Skype. So again, she just arrived last night from Holland for this workshop. And she's also a brand new grandmother. Brand new. So thank you, Chaya. And thank you all for coming and participating. Now, it is my honor to introduce our rector. I just learned that in America it's a provost, I guess they would say. Professor Shai, our rector at Tel Aviv University. He's a scholar of China. And he's the founding member of, he founded basically the Department of East Asian Studies in Tel Aviv University. We're proud to have him with us and to open the workshop.
Okay, good morning everybody. I'm glad to be here. Not only because I'm a rector and also also a friend of, I mean, for the time being, I'm a friend of Eli, because you see, he is the head of the union, and now I'm the management side, so I don't know how long our friendship will last, but probably it will last for a while. And the interesting thing, I'll say a word about it. I'm not going only to greet you, I'm going to say some things, because the discussions here are going to be fruitful or not fruitful, regardless of what I'm going to greet you or bless you. What I'm saying is that indeed we have quite a few issues relating to retirees and pensioners, but I think retirees is a little bit better. And in fact, you know that Eli was just elected as the head of the union a day or two ago. Yesterday. You're not aware of that, but it's a new day, you see, so the whole world is going to change. It's not going to be the same anymore. We have got quite a few issues we negotiate, and the first issue, it so happened, relates to the retirees or the pensioners of Tel Aviv University as to whether they are allowed to volunteer to work here, because some of them volunteer to work, and we enjoy it very much, and I don't want Eli to hear it, but it also saves us some money. But and the question is whether we should pay them or not. It's really a serious problem, because ideologically speaking, certainly anyone who works should get pay for his work. But anyway, that's the first crisis we are going to face. He was elected yesterday, and this morning, less than 24 hours after we have this thing, we'll see how we are going to resolve it. This is number one.
And it was I who invited Wani to come to...
And he invited me to come, even though he invited me a few days before he was elected. Anyway, that's number one. And number two, even though I'm a historian, I'm a general historian dealing with China, that's correct, and I have been here for quite some time. It so happened that I was director in two insurance companies, as I told some of our guests at the Phoenix, which is a sort of competitor, used to be competitor of Clal. Now I know it's down the grade since I left them. But now, and I was also director of what we call in Hebrew the Basasach. It's the export, how do you say, guarantees, insurance sort of. It's a governmental insurance company. Used to be. No, but they sold only fraction. I mean, the long term is still governmental. What? Yes, the name has changed. We sold the name as well, you are right. But actually the government sold the short range and the medium range and they left the long range. And even though I'm a historian, I must say that I enjoyed it very much. I learned a great deal by the years I was there, especially how the world is working, because if you stay too long at the university, you seem a little bit detached from reality. And the third point I want to say is that I have a direct connection with what you are going to discuss, and unfortunately I won't be able to remain, but I'll probably hear from Eli, because what happened with me personally was that having spent at this university about 37 or 38 years, and I was about to retire, they caught me at the very exit and asked me to serve as the rector. And this is interesting. I'm not telling it because it relates to me, but it's interesting in principle, because one, it had to do a lot with me and my decision, because I wasn't aware I had so many other plans, and all of a sudden they've asked me to stay, which was quite nice as far as I was concerned. But the question is whether to cancel other plans. The other one is, and this may perhaps bring a certain blessing to the system, is because this was the first precedent since the university was founded that a professor actually broke the, so to speak, the retirement line, and because I was supposed to retire. And there was even some discussion with the union about it, but the idea was that, at least that's what the president or the managing council said, that this has nothing to do with being a professor, but rather being in the executive side. So, but it's an interesting thing. I predict, and in fact we have already one case in court, that like in North America, and at least in Oxford at the moment, I studied in Oxford, and I know that at the moment there is a certain crisis relating to that because people refuse to retire. And in North America, United States and Canada, this came really to court. And now we have the first case at court now. You are aware of that? So it will be quite interesting because of the ageism issue, which we even have a new word in Hebrew for, because we never had a word in Hebrew for ageism, and it's called gilanut. And if you discriminate someone on the basis of gilanut, you are in trouble. The question is how the courts would actually interpret this thing. So, in fact, this workshop is directly related to very hot issues, and I think that Eli Witt should, in fact, publicize some of the discussion here, or at least let other people know. And as I said, the issue of volunteers is also a tricky one. This I would prefer that Eli wouldn't hear, but he is here, so what can I do? But the thing is that indeed there is something tricky here, because on the one hand, the retirees are interested very often because of the crisis, leaving the university. The advantage with the university, unlike office of some sort, governmental office or the military or other establishments in the university, you have the advantage that very often you keep your office or lab and you can carry on with your research. And many of them, we are going to check how many, but quite a few of the retirees are interested to come and teach and be in contact with the students. What they will do at home, they are very afraid to stay at home with their spouse, whether it's... the thing is that the only way is really to come to the university. Now, if we actually need to, or we should be forced to stop their volunteer work, this is only in Israel what I said about spouses. It's not nothing to do with Europe or the United States. Yes, right. So he means that this was one of the motivation to remain here. Anyway, the thing is that it is a sort of a tricky, very tricky, double-edged sort of thing, much more sophisticated than the legal aspect is concerned. So, in fact, this is what I want to say. Just one more remark. This was related to last year's gathering at Barshira, and this was another issue which we are debating very strongly, and this is the issue of the pension, whether this is a budgetary. We have two, what we call Generation A and Generation B. Generation A actually enjoy budgetary, I think that's a term, pension, and Generation B, the younger ones, since 2003, actually belong to the accumulative pension. And again, if you look into it, people are not aware, this is again very tricky. It's not very clear which one is better. Because if you look at Spain or Greece or whatever, you are not so sure that the budgetary one is the best one. So, because there in Greece, I think they cut it by 30% or so. People here still think that this is guaranteed, while the cumulative one is perhaps not as attractive or tempting, but perhaps it has some more advantages. And the very last point that I want to tell you is the competition, the problem we have here between the public, University, Tel Aviv University, for example, as a public institution, as opposed to the private ones. We really have very great difficulties because this is an unfair warfare, and we lose, especially people who are economists and business administrators, we actually lose to the private sector. And we are under oath almost not to give differential pay, so we really lose people who can, and people who are in the accountants and so on. So this is a problem we don't know how to solve. So I just told you a little bit from the rector's desk, even though he is historian, all the problems that, so I think it's almost a subject for a different workshop, but I'll be delighted if you really let us know what. I'm sorry I was long, but anyway, I wanted to say some. And besides that, I greet you that it will be a fruitful workshop.
Thank you.
I will leave now. I will retire, not in the sense that you think, but I shall retire in the British sense and go to work.
Thank you very much.
Okay, all the best.
Thank you, Professor Ronnie Shai. Despite what Ronnie said, we do most things we see eye to eye, with Ronnie, at least, with our Rector. Proud of him. It is now my honor to introduce Mr. Rami Dayan. Rami is the head of Clal's long-term savings division. Did I get it right? And he is, from what I know, he's like the number 2 guy in Clal, but I don't know. I may be wrong. I don't know. He came to Clal from government service. He was the assistant to the head of capital markets, insurance, and savings division in the Ministry of Finance. And well, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and joining. That's better. Thank you for coming and joining us at this seminar. Clal, over the last years, thought that the pension awareness in the public is something that we should make an effort in order to increase the public awareness to pension issues and the public awareness to what pension means. One of the big changes in the Israeli market regarding pension is the fact that over the last 10 years, the responsibility of the pension plans and the ingredients regarding pensions of the participants moved from the government that over the 10 years ago issued non-tradable government bonds and gave all kinds of guarantees, budget or others, to the pension plans in Israel. Today, the government stepped out of the market, and it means that all the risks in the pension plans moved to the participants, which the market should give them all kind of solution how to handle these risks. Unfortunately, because in terms of state, 10 years it's not a long time, the public is not fully aware to the consequences of the pension plans, the difference between the plans in Israel, and afterwards I will address some of the instruments of pension in Israel versus the world. And because of that, we fear that when a majority of the public today that is working, when they will reach to the retirement age, they won't have any or a sufficient pension allowance on their retirement because of unplanning or misplanning their pension over the years and misunderstanding what they should do in order to prepare themselves over the years to retirement. And as we see it, the planning starts the day you start joining the labor market, not the day after, on the same day, because some mistakes over the years cannot be undone. Thank you. And in that sense, it's our interest, and we are glad and happy to know that the Tel Aviv University sees this interest the same way, is to increase the public awareness, and in that sense to give the public a better tools and understanding of the pension in Israel in order to prevent such cases of insufficient pension allowance at retirement age. So we see a great importance in such research and gives us a better understanding of the all kinds of influences and changes in retirement age in Israel and abroad in order to understand how to make better plans or pension instruments in order to serve the public. So I thank you and I wish you all a very fruitful seminar. Thank you very much for our host from Tel Aviv University, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Rami Dayan. I think pension planning should start not at birth, but at inception. No? Am I right? Inception. Well, okay, you got it. All right.
The first pension plan in the world was the Fifth Amendment, respect your father and mother. That's the
first commandment, absolutely.